you know what you get for that? You get the podcast starting. Welcome to the Unpaid Nobodies, ladies and gentlemen. We're here.
We made it.
We're here.
Week.
We are deep in 2025 now.
I swear January has felt like 6 months.
Yeah, January has felt like no time at all and also 1,000 years.
That's like, what month of January are we in?
Yeah.
All right. We got 4 more years of this January. Lovely.
January 56th.
Jesus Christ, dude. Dude, and like historically, I feel like February is even worse. So
well, February is only 28 days.
Fair point.
This month year is exactly 5 weeks and 1 day.
Jesus,
which is crazy.
Well, DEI doesn't exist anymore, so February isn't Black History Month.
I don't think he's gone that far.
Well, DEI is also the reason we had the plane crash.
Well, that is true.
We're not going to be able to avoid it these 4 years, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to be pitched. Listen, all I know is this: is that it's like Black History Month half the year in this house, so that's not changing no matter who it is.
Fair enough. We do what we want. Should we talk about music?
Yeah, can we please talk about music?
Please.
Can we please talk about music?
We are back.
Oh, top of the thing, we are talking about Balloonerism.
Yes.
Long lost, recently released mixtape by the late great Mac Miller. All right. Purvis, run us through the news.
Yes. We have a lot to cover. We've missed a week. But very exciting news. I think everyone's very excited for this. I think this could be an album drop of the year. Hurry Up Tomorrow is finally dropping tonight.
This is going to be huge.
Got the notification. The vinyl should be here Saturday.
Oh, yeah. I like that.
That means it's definitely coming out.
This is going to be fun. This is going to be nice.
This is going to be good. I'm eager. I'm really, really eager.
I'm shocked I haven't heard more from you about it.
I just have been avoiding, and also just like
there's not much to talk about though.
There hasn't been much to talk about. Everything's been getting delayed. There's been singles coming out, and like I feel like they're good. Like I feel like they're like good enough that I'm not disappointed or unexcited, but also it's not like when Heartless came out and it made me incredibly excited for after. You know what I mean? So like, no, I'm super excited. Like I just am like, I'm just not on social media as much anymore. So it's hard to get into hype of any kinds that isn't like immediately around you. And
I feel like on social media, there hasn't been much hype.
Yeah. And, like, I feel like that,
him announcing these shows.
Yeah. I mean, like, he's done a lot of stuff, but he hasn't done a lot of, like, he hasn't made a lot of it public. A lot of it's been like concerts and like around the, far away from here, which like is cool. Like, I think that's like not like fucking go off. Like, I think that's great, but it's not anything I can really get excited about, except for the fact that it's like nothing that's going to build hype.
Just like it's just a day or two of hype that you're getting because it's all around the show.
And also
after the show, you're not getting anything else.
Also, there is an element of like, it's the weekend. Like, of course I'm gonna like. It is like kind of a thing where it's like, yeah, I'm not even gonna like listen to the singles. Of course, when it comes out, I'm gonna listen to it. This will probably be what I do tomorrow afternoon. Like,
I think that's fair.
Yeah,
I'm ready for the tour announcement. I need to see him live.
Me too.
I'm more excited about seeing him live than the album, to be honest.
Honestly, me too. Like, I hope I eat those words, and I hope I really like this album. But yeah, no, I'm more excited about seeing him live.
Yeah, for sure. To go with some other stuff as well. Mike is back. I don't know if you guys remember, this is one of the people that I hope was going to blow up our last episode.
Yeah,
but
no,
he dropped Showbiz.
I almost saw him live last year.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
that would have been fun.
Yeah, he was at the Metro.
That's someone I'm going to have to see now. I realize that it's a blessing and a curse, but I've seen almost everyone I want to see live. So it's time to branch out a little bit more. I'll put it that way. Besides him, we have SG coming out with I Ain't Feeling You. Some features that were mentioned was like 21 Savage, Travis Scott, the big name Trap Lords. And then we have Spectacular Diagnostics, which is actually a 10-year re-release of Raw game, but it has a lot of Griselda representation. So it's nice extra music, but we all know what's going to get the first list.
Of course. Yeah. I mean, I'm excited for Showbiz too. I like Mike. He's another one who like I'm trying to like actively get into.
Good.
Yeah. We had a crazy amount of singles too.
We do have a lot of singles. I'll go over some that are actually out already. Last week we got the Travis Scott 4x4 and a music video attached to it. Did anybody see the music video? Just curious.
I did.
I saw bits and pieces.
I have not watched it. No.
I saw it. I thought it was good.
It is the
very Travis
Scott video. Very Texas shit. Yeah.
Yes, that is well.
Yeah.
It's also the theme song for Monday Night Raw on Netflix. So
perfect.
Yeah.
That's why, because everything I saw was the wrestling theme to the music video.
Didn't he open it for like some college football something as well?
I think he opened it. He also played it for the national championship game, I believe.
Yeah.
How do we feel about the increasing popularity of that like college band sound? Just being like, It feels like it's everywhere all of a sudden.
Love.
It is. Yeah.
Big into it. I love like the whole.
It's a lot of gain. It's like kind of intense, but like not in a bad way. It's just different.
I love the rhythm of it. I watch Drumline once a year, so it's
there. You go.
I love. I sometimes if I'm just hanging out in my apartment, I listen to like just like drum lines, like the same way like I sometimes do house music.
I also feel like that's all around the HBCU actually like growing a lot more attention now. So I think that also has part to do with it.
That's got to be a huge
all these
factor.
guys that you start seeing, like you're starting to see them all like support these schools. Yeah. And I think that all has to start with Deion Sanders when he went to Jackson, Mississippi, and coached down there.
Yeah,
so
you can see that. I don't know. I like the sound a lot. I like the it gives an energy of like a very large aspect or a large thing. It feels like a choir almost.
It's a huge it's like a percussions version of a choir. It's like it just adds scale and scope. It's very good. I'm a big fan. Right? Like obviously like if you're making an R&B song, it's not going to sound great, but like you know,
time and place.
Time and place, but big fan. Like
for sure. Some other stuff that has already released last week. Joey released Sorry Not Sorry. Included multiple, well, not full disses, but
just call outs. Yeah, like sub call outs for the West Coast.
Absolutely.
I don't know.
Shot at J. Cole.
On one hand, like I know Joey's nowhere near as big as those guys. Joey's a very good rapper.
Yes.
Do I think he's better than Kendrick? I don't know, but Drake for sure.
I'll give him Drake, yeah.
Definitely Drake. J. Cole? J. Cole, that I think
it could be good though.
I think it's anyone's game, right? Like I think it's an any given Sunday kind of scenario, right? Like I don't know. I do kind of like the animosity brewing. Like obviously I hope no violence occurs. But beyond that, I'm a fan.
Yeah. I get that.
We're going to talk about the greatest song ever released.
I still haven't heard it. I don't want to listen to it.
Rachel made me watch the video.
Oh my god. I'm waiting for the Kids Bop version of this song.
Kids Bop version.
Let's see how they pull that off.
I'll say this, like as someone with like a pretty vaguely positive opinion of Bruno Mars, it didn't make me like him less. Like like if that makes you like
he's just trying to get out of debt from the casino.
He's just trying to
everybody keeps
he's
saying.
Just trying to get this next parlay, I bet. Like
MGM came out and was like, nah, he doesn't have debt with us. And everyone's like, yeah, all right.
I don't believe it. If he's doing this, he's deep in debt.
You don't believe he might just be he might just really believe in the vision.
It's wild that like
in fat, juicy, and wet. Yeah, he's
vision. He just fucks with it really hard artistically.
He starts doing gang signs, and he's not even gang affiliated.
He said he's repping a set. I did hear that bar, and I needed to know what's up.
He doesn't even have a set.
This song is so funny because like even if it were like pretty good, it would probably still bring down like the overall rating of his excellent and very small discography.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Like, the fact that it's not even like
I will say it's not as bad as you think it's gonna be. I will say that.
I do not like it.
It's catchy.
I don't think it's a very good song. I don't think it's as bad as I anticipated.
I'll give you that.
Just like
it's gonna be in the clubs. You're gonna see DJs.
Yeah.
Oh, the sample is gonna go hard, but like
that's what the song's gonna make their money off of.
I mean, I've heard way worse songs from Sexy Red, I guess is my point. But it's not as good as Ski Yee, which is still...
You sure they hit the home run with that? I don't know if it landed.
Oh, my God.
I'm looking at the cover art. She's just twerking on him. It's amazing. It's great.
So funny.
What happens to the grenades you used to hold for us?
It was never about music.
God.
It was never about music.
I hope he has to. I hope this hits so hard he has to do Silk Sonic 2 just to recover.
You know what? I approve that.
I approve.
I think we all love Silk Sonic. Like,
who doesn't?
Oh my God.
Some other stuff to go over. Actually, everything is already released, surprisingly. But Lotto.
We are actually recording on time before things usually come out this week.
Yes, which is a rare occurrence for us now. But we do have Lotto featuring Playboy Carti dropping the song Blick Some, because if you love me, you'll shoot somebody.
Lotto?
So, that exists.
Wild. Yeah, I saw this promoted and like foreshadowing, but also like
I don't know. My Carti hype is
I don't like Carti and like foreshadowing. I'm not a huge Lotto fan either.
Yeah.
This song, I saw this title and was like, that's what my dad does when he goes to buy art supplies.
That's funny. That's good. I'm not laughing, but I'm not offended either. Like, that was good.
It's like, hey, I'm gonna go buy some paint. All right, have fun.
Go blick some. Like,
go blick some. Don't blick too much.
Yeah, don't.
I'm upset.
You have discount codes. Use them where they count.
I hate it here.
I just gentrified Lotto.
He was coming for it one day.
Okay, let me just get to the last single.
Godspeed.
It's the worst one.
Godspeed is right. Say it, Purvis. Say the song that's coming out.
Will Smith dropped an EP. It is called Beautiful Scars. It is a 3-song EP. One of the songs features Big Sean. Another one features Russ and Jaden, which is something we all asked for. And the last one features Sunday Service Choir.
That's crazy. That last one is crazy. Do you think he'll have to cuss in his raps to sell records now?
Well, that's his thing. Doesn't he not curse back in the day? He never did.
He never did. Didn't know cuss words. I don't know. I hope Will Smith gets back in the movies. I don't know. I don't know what's to say about Will Smith anymore.
I don't know. He's back to Chris Rock kind of. It's like Bad Boys 5, 6,
whatever.
20. I don't even know what they're at now.
Didn't 3 just come out like a year ago?
I think 4 did.
I think that was 4. Yeah, Bad Boys for Life.
Yeah.
There's so many. I think they're on Bad Boys 5 or something.
I think they're going on 5, yeah.
Oh my God.
And with this EP release, the song he has with Big Sean, the music video, is a parody of him as Neo from Matrix. Because he turned that roll down.
Make it stop.
So,
yeah. Make it stop. Listen, I respected the slap, but this...
Yeah.
This I can't abide.
Yeah, it's a Matrix spoof.
Stop making fun of my Matrix, Will Smith. I love...
Oh, man.
Dude, I love
He turned that down for Men in Black.
Yeah, or I thought it was Wild Wild West, which also.
Oh wait, yeah, Wild Wild West.
Which also better off for it. Like, I like Will Smith as an actor a lot. He should not have been in the fucking Matrix. Like,
might have been able to do okay.
Look, I don't doubt it. Like, I don't think that's inherently like a better movie, but I think the flat expectation of Keanu Reeves, like, is like an essential part of the Neo character, right? Like,
he was gonna be the main character.
He was gonna be the main character in the Matrix.
Brandon, have you seen 7 Pounds?
Huh?
Have you seen 7 Pounds, the Will Smith movie?
That's a good movie.
Oh yeah, a long time ago.
I would say, like, his character in that, like the way he does that, I could see it in the Matrix, but like he was already too established as a comedy actor.
Yeah, I just don't think at the time, like, you know, and like once again, like I think the Wachowskis are geniuses, and I like Will Smith a lot, so I think it would have ended up being a very good movie. It just would not have been
the
what
Matrix
we got,
today.
you know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah.
And that is like top 5 favorite movie for me, obviously, because
They should have cast him as Trinity.
It would have to have been a Latina because that's the rules with Will Smith.
Yes, the Hitch formula.
It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would have been Michelle Rodriguez as Trinity, which.
On the news. we have J. Cole that started a blog.
This is hilarious. This is
about fucking gardening.
It's just kind of him vibing, and I'm gonna say it. I think blogs need to make a comeback. I think we all need to divest from social media and get back on blogs. And I think J. Cole is leading by example.
Is there any platform that they use for blogs? Like
Blogspot.
Blogging.
Blogspot, Blogger. There's a million.
Yeah.
You can buy a cheap URL for like $12 and host a blog there for like no money.
We did that.
Yeah, we have that. We have a blog. Like, we don't use it, but...
Come on now.
It's just a website. I didn't call it a blog. I guess it's a blog.
Gotta get creative with some writing.
A blog is just a type of website.
Fair enough.
Do you know what it stands for?
I don't.
It stands for something. No, it's not a joke. It actually stands for something. Or like what it is an abbreviation of.
Oh, no.
I get nothing.
Yeah, I got nothing.
It is weblog.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. I don't hate that. I'm not upset. Anyway.
Truncation. Yeah.
Anyway, very cool. I don't think it's like the coolest shit in the world. He immediately shut down the idea that it meant that he was about to announce an album. Like,
honestly, I respect that because it didn't.
Yeah, I respect, like, if you're opening up a line of communication and you don't mean to send that message, yeah,
be clear.
Make it fucking loud and clear, which he did. So I respect that. But like,
not going on X and giving Elon Musk the money.
God,
there you go.
God.
Go ahead, start up a blog, Brandon.
I'm gonna start up a blog. It's called "You'll Be on a List."
I realized as soon as I said it, I was like, "Yeah, this is gonna go."
Yeah, it's like January 6th was the best day of my life. A real thing I'm writing. I was talking to someone about it at a hockey game, and Rachel was like, "Don't talk about that in public. People don't know you mean it a different way." Like,
especially at a hockey game where they make white people.
Yeah, you're right. That was a good point. Like,
she really was looking out for herself.
Yeah, she always did.
Just think of that Twitter thread where it's like a black guy, like, white people have been hiding hockey from us. This shit is lit.
I have been on Blackhawks game and it was lit.
Dude, it's so much fun, dude. We had a blast. She was quoting the Chance the Rapper SNL sketch the entire time. She's like, "Go do that hockey."
I like that.
Everything but an album from him. Whatever.
To be fair, this was pre the big day, but like,
I know.
Yeah.
Okay.
I remember.
Yeah, this is an old one. Like
2017.
Yeah. All right. The most predictable thing, I could have sworn someone on this show had brought up that this would probably happen.
Jeff, I think it was you.
Yeah, it was either. Yeah, I think it was Jeff.
It probably was me. I think I have.
Yeah, like this. So SZA announced to perform at the Super Bowl with Kendrick,
which is not surprising. It's like.
Yeah, very obvious.
That's not surprising.
On each other's albums. Her album just came out. She's a huge star. Love it. They're going on tour together. Yeah. Number one movie, which by the way, I saw the movie she's in. If we want to do a little movie review.
Oh, I actually want to go see that.
Dude, it's really good. Dope. It's very funny.
What's it called?
Okay. One of Those Days. It's
Keke Palmer, right?
Classic, like, stoner comedy kind of movie. Yeah, it's Keke Palmer and SZA. SZA's very good. She falls into physical comedy very well. Like,
is that why she was dressed as a bug, or was that still unrelated?
No, that's just the concept for the album. I don't know. Yeah, no, it freaks me out. I hate it, but I do love that project, so I see it a lot.
In bad news.
Oh yeah, yeah, this is gonna be a minute. This is a big one.
Yeah, I don't know how much you guys read into it, but DJ Academics was exposed for grooming a 15-year-old on stream.
Them predators move in flocks.
Wow.
Drake's biggest fan. I found out, like, I think a day or so before you had posted it in the group chat. I don't know the streamer well enough, but yeah, he was basically just on stream.
He was like a 15-year-old.
Like, you talk to any girls, like, I'll bring strippers to you, all this sexual stuff. And even the 15-year-old was like, yo, chill out.
No, I was watching some things. I think the 15-year-old was, like, really good at, like, stood his ground really good. But it got weird, dude. He was asking, like, about gay shit. Like,
yep.
It was that, to quote them, you know, like, it was really wild. And as someone who has always fucking hated DJ Academics,
right? This is pretty cathartic. I'm
right?
Not gonna lie.
To quote Freddie Gibbs, if I see DJ Academics, I'm gonna grab them titties. Like,
but now be prepared to have him grab them back.
At least he's finally going to be punished for some kind of glazing.
Yeah, yes. No, he's not. No, he wouldn't grab me. I'm not young and impressionable.
He's like, I like him jaded, Brandon.
Plus, I'm tall. Like, I'm probably taller than him. Like,
you are much taller than him.
Isn't he like 5?
I don't know. If you start with a 5, I'm taller than him. It's easy as that.
Yeah,
this is true. No, yeah. He's probably. I don't know. There's probably a case coming, so I don't know.
Huge case. He's banned on everything.
Is he banned now?
Yeah.
Yeah, TikTok banned him.
Twitch.
Not TikTok. Twitch banned him. I believe he's banned on X.
Yeah.
Or
even
Instagram.
Elon Musk was like, yikes.
And that takes a lot.
The guy who dude.
We must remain focused.
Dude, it's all coming to an end. Don't you see?
No, it's YouTube. YouTube.
YouTube. You got kicked off of YouTube. Yeah, good. So, yeah, fuck that guy. Like,
I'm sorry. I'm losing it. We must stay focused, my brothers. Going on. The biggest Brandon clickbait ever.
Shut the fuck up, Purvis. Shut the fuck up.
It was like an AI article generator wrote this specifically based on Brandon's search history. So it was like, right, make me an article to make this man engage with my website.
And they won. They did it. It was...
Yeah. Westside Gun has a new hardcore rock band called Dissension. How do you say that?
I think you said it correctly. Dissension.
Okay, Dissension?
Yeah. I don't think it's unclear if he's in the band or if this is just a band he is signing to Griselda Records.
I think he's in the band.
He's in the band?
It sounds like he's in the band. Like, but that is definitely. But those vocals are definitely not him.
I was going to say, what is he going to do?
I don't know.
Be ad libs.
Punk bass is easy. Like, but like, but no. First off, like, the music sounds very good. Like, as a hardcore fan, this sounds like genuinely very good hardcore, right?
He's going the Ice-T route. He's going to have the hardcore band, and then you're going to see him on TV in a Law and Order show.
Yeah,
some
sort.
dude, I would watch
West Side
SVU
Gun
West
just
Side Gun
replacing-
Unit, like
That's hilarious.
WSG Unit,
CSI West Side. Can you imagine just like
CSI
being
Compton.
exactly replaced with West Side Gun in every episode? Just like
Oh
like
my
copy
God.
paste.
I would pay $1.7 billion for that.
And you could write it, Brandon.
I would write it. I'd be like,
Yeah.
and then West Side Gun solves the mystery every week, and I would be good. I
It'd
would
be
never.
like Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, it would be Scooby.
Funny, Brandon. That's
It
exactly.
would be
what
2
money-
episodes of SVU, and then it would quickly become Scooby Doo.
That's exactly as much money as West Side Gun spends on shitty Chanel accessories.
God. But
I don't know.
tell me, first off, it's kind of funny because I've been watching Scooby Doo, like
God damn it.
getting super baked at night and just watching.
That checks out.
Shut the fuck up.
Zoinks! You're probably like, I wish I had a dog like that.
I had a Great Dane for years, and we were
it talk?
Shaggy and Scooby.
Did it eat Scooby snacks?
Yeah, we got her Scooby snacks. You can ask Jeff; he met her. Like,
Lovely.
she was a real one. Anyway, yeah, this was for me. Thank you, West Side Gun. If you ever want to come on the show and talk about wrestling or anime or whatever it is, or just, hang out, I don't know, you're welcome on for this. This literally could not have been a more like for me thing to have happened. Like,
We'll see whenever the first album comes out. Maybe we'll review it.
cannot believe West Side Gun dropped a rock album before Denzel Curry. Anyway.
Griselda.
He's doing as much
If
as he can.
you squint hard enough, if you squint hard enough,
That's gotta be racist. I don't know what you're gonna say.
no. If you don't listen closely enough, everything 2018 Denzel Curry is rock.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, maybe. It's like rock flavored. Like,
Yeah, no, it is. Yeah,
yeah, it's like it's not like root beer. It's like root beer flavored barbecue sauce. I don't know what I'm saying. Purvis, take us to the next topic. Like,
root beer LaCroix.
it's like a flavor ghost.
I would never drink LaCroix. Oh my God, I'm sorry.
Oh,
I
Cobain has
hate
entered the
that.
chat.
Dude, they have
Oh, I hate
mango seltzer things at the office. I was at today. Had 3 of them. Very good.
Vibes.
Okay, see, I might be able to do a seltzer like that. But
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think LaCroix as a brand is pretty bad. Like, they're just not very good seltzers, but there's absolutely good seltzers out there.
Maybe we'll see. Last topic. Kid Cudi's birthday was today, and everything went on vinyl. And
Happy
Jasper-
birthday to Kid Cudi. 41. Where is 444 but the Kid Cudi version? Let's get it.
He's getting real
He's
old.
done that 3 times. That was Man on the Moon.
444?
Like, just like autobiographical albums, I would say.
Yeah, but like, all right, fine. Where's his Quaranta? That's what I want.
Okay, fair enough.
Where's
I don't know what
Man
that was.
Cuddy? Like, give.
Jasper
about Big Boy
looked at that, he
Cudi?
didn't think of that.
Pretty good. Dude, I was thinking today about just like bad jokes like that. I don't know why this came into my head, but I was thinking about the movie Drive. And there's that bit where Carey Mulligan's like explaining how she met her boyfriend who has the kid with. And he's like, the guy's like, I went up to her and I said, "Excuse me, miss, my name is Standard Gabrielle. I think you're very beautiful. Can I dance with you?" And you know what she said to me? She said, "Where's the deluxe version?" It's like, God damn it.
I haven't seen Drive.
You haven't seen Drive?
I have
Oh.
not seen Drive.
You're
Very
missing
good.
out. It's like white boy core.
I don't know if
White
Purvis
Boy
would get
Core?
Drive.
But like in a wholesome way, like Linkin Park. I don't know.
No, Drive is an excellent movie. I don't know if Purvis
great
would
movie.
get Drive.
I'm also just not a good movie person.
Right. Like, Purvis would be like giving an entry level rap fan like a Billy Woods project. It's like, you're not going to understand what this is. Like,
It's too deep.
it's like showing Avengers to your dog. Like, just don't.
Circling back. Yeah, Kid Cudi's whole catalog came out on vinyl. I tried to go for it an hour after I saw the story came out. All the pre-orders were sold out.
I'm not surprised.
I don't doubt that.
Apparently they're restocking them, so I signed up. But I need WZRD on vinyl. Oh my god!
Is that the
Wizard?
Wizard, yeah.
No, I'm missing a bunch. I have the Man on the Moons, and I've got like I don't even know what else. I don't have Indicut. I don't have Passion Pain. I don't have Wizard. Like, yeah, I don't have most of his. So that's another thing to burn money on. Let's do it.
Too many collections.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Jasper, I didn't tell you I got a sword.
A sword?
Should I just grab it right now?
What is it? Show us.
Yeah.
Okay,
we were all showing off our swords in the Discord.
You're gonna tell me about your you're gonna tell me about your promotion, but not the sword that you got.
I can't believe I'm doing this on camera.
That's fine.
This is the case.
Mine's right there. It's always on camera.
Nice.
In case I need to kill somebody through the internet.
So you know I keep that motherfucking thing on me.
You know I keep that motherfucking thing.
Ooh.
It's really fancy.
Are you gonna start doing bamboo strikes in the backyard?
Dude, I'm down. Yeah, let me actually take
Dude, I've been trying to get people to come over and play Fruit Ninja with my sword in the alley.
Honestly, you have.
Party, dude.
Dude, come over. We'll do.
As
long as the price of fruit and vegetables doesn't get too crazy.
Not the vegetables. That is nice, dude.
It's fucking sick. I'm not gonna lie. It is the dopest thing I own.
Where'd you get it from?
It's
Hold that up close. Show everybody the Damascus. Come on now.
The blade of Damascus.
Jesus Christ. But yeah, it's actually really official. Like, it's really well made.
Yeah.
It comes with feeding material. How to dispense it.
Show us that.
I haven't even taken the wrap off yet.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh my, what move?
Cool. But yeah, we could definitely do this in person. Just start cutting shit.
Dude, 100%. Mine's a different style of sword, but
yes.
Yeah, mine's much larger.
European.
It's a European.
Sharp, right?
Yeah. I've cut hair off my arm with it.
Are you serious?
Like I tested it. Like they say to test a blade, the best thing to do is like try and shave some hair off your arm, and I was able to.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try that soon.
All right.
Next episode, skin missing from his arm.
Yikes.
Anyway, if anyone would like to, we should record it, make it content for the episode. Just be like, nobody's get drunk and play Fruit Ninja.
Absolutely not.
What, you want to do this sober? This sounds like sober activities to you?
If we hit 10,000 subscribers on a insert platform name here, should we host a Fruit Ninja meetup in Humboldt Park?
That'd be fun.
Just like the middle of Humboldt Park.
That's so funny.
Or like Garfield Park, just like spinning around.
Bring your own weapon. Could be a butcher's blade, a sword.
Yes.
I can just imagine the police radio call for that.
It's like, yeah, we got a bunch of freaks with swords in the park.
He's got a knife, but longer.
We've got a bunch of drunk morons playing Fruit Ninja in Garfield Park.
Humboldt Park. Don't move us down there. Humboldt Park. That's why I'm keeping it in my Wrigleyville alley, where they'll just be like, that seems about right.
Oh, man.
Jasper also has a backyard, just saying.
I do.
We could make it work.
Anyway.
Sorry.
This has been the silliest segment of the podcast ever.
This whole episode has been very unhinged.
Yeah, well,
it's perfect for a Mac Miller.
Have you seen what the world is like? Anyway, shall we slow it on down, get into our album mixtape review?
Let's do it.
All right, who wants to do the intro for this?
Who's the biggest Mac Miller fan? I actually don't know.
It's probably either you or Jeff. I'm also a fairly big Mac Miller fan. I know enough about this album to probably intro it, but probably the least of us.
I really don't know much about this album.
Yeah, like I know it was leaked. Right, like I know it was leaked in 2015.
16.
It was leaked in 2016?
I believe so. I believe 16. It was originally leaked. A lot of fans of his have heard it.
Yeah, I know like a lot of people found it. I think it could be fun for us to all go around and talk about our own personal ethics on listening to leaks. But yeah, this album was leaked to high hell. And we just never got it. Unfortunately, it was only 3 years until he passed. But apparently throughout the entire time since it was leaked, he had talked about releasing it quite a few times. So we know it's something he wanted us to hear.
So this was recorded in 2014. It was around the time of the Faces mixtape. And then this was So that was also right before watching movies with the sound off, I believe.
Wasn't that 2013?
Nah, this would be it sounds everything is right, but except watching movies came out in 2013.
It came out the same day as
Yeezy.
Yeah, and the J. Cole one, Born Center.
There you
go. Yeah, the one that we don't, whatever.
Yeah, no, this was is the work. This was what he was going to release after that. That's what it was.
So it was a very experimental time, which lines up with this project.
Yeah,
and as his estate has been top notch.
Yeah,
since his passing. This is the now second release or posthumous release.
Yes.
Following up from Circles, and this is something. It was leaked to all hell. All the real fans heard it by now, but it's finally on streaming. It now has a SZA feature, a part of it as well, which was unexpected for me personally.
Well, she was originally on that song, but also around that time, she was also doing a lot of work with Mac.
Yeah, she was.
Her and Mac were very close, and he's the one that kind of like pushed her to get to where she's at.
The superstar she is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was interesting to hear such an early SZA feature. Because this would have been years before Z.
Yeah. I imagine she might have re-recorded this. But
maybe. I have no idea.
Yeah. Yeah, that's Balloonerism. Everybody loves Mac Miller, dude. We all miss Mac Miller. We wish he was back. But we have this, and I think what was rumored is 2 more projects. One of them was the Maglib.
I think that's the one is confirmed.
Yes.
Yeah, that's definitely confirmed.
Yeah, Maglib's confirmed, and then I don't know about another one. This is the one that I always thought was kind of like I'll believe it when I see it, which, I obviously now believe it. But but yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, when it released, I believe it came out with a short film that is now available on Prime.
Oh, I've yet to watch the short film.
Amazon Prime, I want to say.
I listened to the album
it's on Prime.
a bit, but...
Yeah, it's only like 25, maybe 30 minutes tops.
Okay. What is has anyone here watched the short film?
Not this one.
No.
No, my Prime expired by the time I was able to get to it.
Okay, that's fine.
Maybe I'll check it out tonight.
Yeah, whenever things are just so hard to come by, it's like, fuck, I'm never on Prime, so it's like I'm never going to see that.
That's fair.
But I listen to the album plenty. Why don't we all just go around and talk about, like, how we feel about this album and our general feelings about Mac Miller?
Do you want to go first then?
Sure, yeah. I like this album a lot. I thought this was... It was nice to get more from the hyper experimental Mac. I feel like there's a lot of different kinds of Mac Miller. He delivers a lot of different tones. And, I think this calls back really nicely to Faces and that kind of that era between watching movies and Good AM, which, like, watching movies has always been my favorite Mac Miller project. Good AM is one that honestly did not start growing on me until like 2 years ago. Like, I never really disliked it, but like it just wasn't hitting for me for some reason. So a lot of like experimental Mac I got into after he passed, and I was kind of like revisiting his music, because like I got back into it when The Divine Feminine came out. So yeah, I was like very much like, it was what I wanted. This was what I expected, and I'm happy with it. It does. It is like a very interesting album to come out right now. Just like considering that this is Mac is an artist like I'm intentionally listening to more of, because like I like his music so much, but it just doesn't end up in my rotation as much. And I'm like, well, I want to change that. So I see this as like a very dense project. I don't see this as something that can very easily be just like listened to out of order, right? It feels like it demands an intentional listening, which is great, which, you know, I love, right? But like this feels like way more than the average album that requires that, you know, not even like way more, just requires a lot of intention if you're watching it. Like the droning that goes on forever at the end, right? Like it kind of demands a certain kind of listening experience. So I liked it a lot. I also never listened to the leaks, right? I told myself I would start listening to leaks when I ever heard an artist come out and say, yes, I want you to listen to my leaks. And that has never happened. Now I feel a little bit differently because I feel like with this podcast, you know, you got to follow the news and you got to listen to what's out. But like, you know, so I never listened to the leaks. It was always like, you know, if Mac wanted me to hear it, he'd put it out. And so I was excited to finally have something that was just like brand new to me. But yeah, that was kind of like my feeling. I really, really liked it. I thought it was a dense listen. I can totally see myself going back to this album in the past. I can't see this becoming part of like my typical musical diet, which is something I want to bring up for everyone in a minute. But I can't see this becoming part of my standard musical diet. But I did enjoy it like quite a bit. I did find it to be a really, really satisfying listening experience.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say I could jump in. So at least my introduction to the album, I did not listen to it when all the leaks came out, just because I wasn't that into Mac Miller at the time. But what I've realized, I feel like this time period was a really good opportunity for Mac Miller to transition from that frat music into something much more polished that we have towards the end of his life. And this was a perfect transition. So we have a very like, it's hard to describe it, but I feel like Mac Miller has such a good ear for music that even though I can't box this within a certain genre or a certain sound, I know it's still going to be good. I don't know if I can listen to these songs individually, but I know, like for me, Stone is probably one of the best songs I've heard from him. And like, I had never heard.
I loved Stones.
So good. Funny Papers, Excelsior, like
$5 pony rides.
I literally, I had a couple tears listening to this album.
Oh yeah, like, for sure. Me too.
So yeah, I just realized that I unfortunately took Mac Miller for granted. I wish I saw him live. In all the stories that you hear from like people who've worked with him in the industry, he's such an important figure. He did so many things behind the scenes that he just should have got more credit for when he was around.
Yeah, I agree. Like I felt like he was wildly beloved when he was around, and I still think he deserved more.
Yeah, even more.
Yeah,
even more. So yeah, I highly. I enjoyed this album. I enjoyed this album a lot. So yeah, I won't give a grade quite yet, but similar to the conversation we had over text, I feel like that was the biggest piece of conversation for this album. Is just like, how do I consume this? When do I consume it? Where does it fit within my actual like listening experience? Because things like this, I would want to take time. Like, obviously, I'm not comparing it to Blonde, but like when I listen to Blonde, I sit down and listen to Blonde.
Yeah, but even I agree with you about that. I think it even goes like one step further because I feel like Blonde, as you know, all encompassing of a piece of art as that is, I do think it's like maybe like approachable in a way. This isn't right. Like I don't know. Sometimes I do just listen to Nights. Like
I think it helps that we've heard so much of Blonde too.
That's a fair point. And like, you know, that's like the problem with comparing it to any of these big albums, right? Okay. Like to me, if I want to compare it to anything, like to me, like I don't know, like it's almost like scaring the hose to a certain extent, where it is just like, I think scaring the hose works better on a track to track level. It's an album composed of songs. It's nowhere near as cohesive as this, but in the same way that it demands your attention, right? It demands you to like look past like any kind of structure or aesthetic that you might be looking for in this project, right? I don't think it's crazy far off from Mac Miller's, especially all the projects he's done under Mac Miller. I don't think it's so crazy far off that it's unenjoyable by even a relatively casual fan, because I wouldn't consider myself a hardcore Mac Miller fan, and I found it very enjoyable. But I do think it maybe is just a little abrasive and like almost intentionally so. And I think like part of the conversation around like listening, like how you feel about a project versus how is this project going to actually exist in your life. I feel like, how do we appreciate something that is intentionally abrasive or intentionally like complex and like isn't hiding the fact, right? Anyway, Jeff, you go.
So I'm kind of mixed on this. Just first off, I'm curious if Mac Miller at any point told someone close to him or had in his will somewhere, kind of like Sinead O'Connor just announced that she told her kids to milk all her unreleased music and make whatever you can off it. I'm curious if Mac told that to anyone that's close to him or had that written somewhere to release, certain projects. This is what I want. If anything ever happens to me, release these.
I think he was, from what we know, like he told his mom to be like very selective.
That's okay. That's kind of where I'm feeling, because like this, I felt like it's good. It irritates me at a lot of Mac Miller fans saying this is his best project that he's ever done, which blows my mind, saying like, listen to all his other work. This is not his best work. This is, I don't even think, a top 5 project of his, because he has so much other good stuff out there. This felt it felt incomplete to me. And like, it felt like there was a reason he hasn't released it, because like he always wanted to go back to it and finish it. Like lyrically, I felt like he was trying to put those finishing touches on some of the lyrics and some of the instrumentals. And to me, I just felt like it was just not fully complete for a Mac Miller album. But with the leaks happening, I just think he just kind of pushed it aside and wanted to move on with something else. And that's where we got Good AM.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate anything you're saying. As a matter of fact, like I don't even think it's all that inconsistent with my own experience, because like the lyrics are raw to the point where like there's like some where they're just like, I don't know, not good. I think like this album gets so far outside like the hip hop genre.
It's very depressing also.
Yeah, it is a very depressing album, but like
it is a depressing album.
But motherfuckers be depressed, so we can't like.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No. I mean, you're spot on.
Yeah,
that was actually one of Isaac's main points. I don't know if he actually like shared with you guys.
Oh no! If you got word from Isaac, let us know.
Yeah. I was gonna say, I think he shared it in the group before we all said we listened to it, because he works really early in the mornings. One of the things he was conflicted on, he was saying like it's so sad. Like
it is.
It comes off almost jarring in a sense, where I was just like, yeah, but Mac Miller would have wanted this to come out. Like he dropped Swimming before he died, and Swimming is much more depressing.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah. And like I would actually say like even some of his more depressing work, I would even say I like more. Like Swimming, like
Swimming in
circles, yeah. Fuck, I was going to say something, because it is like, we all have albums we like to cry to, but the thing is that like those albums, I think the thing that makes them so comforting is that they're not so sad as much as they are vulnerable and emotional, and it makes you feel like you're comfortable crying. You know what I mean? This is sad, like, and like, don't get me wrong, like I was in a headspace. I was like, I've had a rough week. We've all had rough weeks. Like, this kind of hit for me. Maybe just because I was sad. But
no, yeah, I told you the other day. I think I texted you randomly, and I was just like, not gonna lie to you, cried to Mac Miller today, and it was because of like Excelsior. Like the way he talks about childhood is just like, man, that's a very like deep feeling. Like a lot of people want to go back to being kids. It's real.
Everyone does, and I appreciate him for like not holding back and making these projects. I do. To me, I feel like with how selective his estate has been, I think that there's a reason that we're just not meant to know why this is out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, maybe
I think it was because of the leaks. I think
maybe it's because of the leaks, and like I do feel like, you know, that does change the whole equation a little bit. But like, you know, I also don't want to be hypocritical when I'm like skeptical of these kind of things when other artists do it. I don't want to be hypocritical just because like this is Mac Miller and like I don't want to come across like, oh, because I think this is creatively worth a damn, this is an exception, you know, to like that kind of thing. But at the same time, I have actually genuinely been impressed by his estate. Jasper.
Oh, same.
Well, let me start this off by saying I am the least versed in Mac Miller of all of you. I have not been able to get through his entire discography, and that's because every time I try, I find a project that I bounce off of really hard.
His earlier work is the roughest.
I tried it. Well, I have a special spot in my heart for Blue Slide Park. I grew up listening to that.
Yeah.
Had some exposure to watching movies, which was fine. Wasn't really anything that I was really excited about. I'd say musically, my favorite work of his is Swimming, just from like an instrumental perspective. I like that it's tight and it's focused. This album did not do it for me. This project just definitely missed the mark for me, and it really, in a way, encapsulates the way I feel about him as an artist, which is like pretty apathetic. It's always been hard for me to get into. Maybe I just don't relate to a lot of what he says, or I just don't necessarily find it interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But it just feels scattered in a way that's like it's got artful moments, but it doesn't have like it feels like it doesn't have direction. And that was one of the things that I thought was so funny when I was going through, and I was at the beginning, and he asks, "Do you have a destination?" Yeah, but this project doesn't, and it just kind of grinds my gears a little bit. I think musically, the experimental aspects were interesting, not something I would ever come back to and re-listen to. And I think that just like a lot of the messaging of the album, it is sad, but I think it falls very much into the trap that a lot of Mac Miller has for me, which is like a lot of it kind of comes off as a little like pseudo philosophical, where it's like a bit too heady for its own good, especially like 2013 and onward for me, at least in my experience. He's like the Bob Dylan of rap. Bob Dylan is really good at writing like certain lyrics and lines that really hit and mean something really profound and important. But that's about 50% of the time. And the rest of the time, it's something that's pretty inane and maybe like he's trying to make something hit and it's kind of a swing and a miss. And I just think that all kind of comes together here where it's like it's not his best vocal performances, it's not his best instrumentation. It's a project, but it's one that I don't feel strongly about either way. It's just like very middle of the road, not something I would revisit. But like, am I glad I listened to it? Sure. Like it's cool that it's out and it's cool that it's gotten an official release, but it's not anything that I was like holding my breath for and not something where I'm like excited to revisit it.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, like, I guess to me, I think the directionlessness of it kind of just comes down to like what I feel like the theme is, which is just like expression for expression's sake.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like, you know, that's like the ultimate point of the album is that like, is this worth doing if it's not, if there is no direction? Hence all like the suicide and dying things where it's like, you know, kind of like, I feel like it draws like the artistic connection between like that and like the whole like, you know, what is life worth living if we're all going to die at the end? And like, I think like just to do it is like, it does make for a interesting paradigm, but like when you say pseudo philosophical 50% of the time, I feel like that really does apply to this album. I do have to level with you on that. Like, I do think this is heady for its own good, too heady for its own good. Like, I think it hits more than 50%. I think a lot of times Mac is pretty profound. But on this album specifically, I do think there were times where it was like either the content of like the song Elsewhere like kind of undermined the point, or it was just not, it was too heady for its own good, like you said. I think there are albums where he does an extremely good job of making his points, like The Divine Feminine. Like, I think he does, I think that is as philosophical as we get. But for this project specifically, yeah, I see what you mean.
And I think what hits is really subjective. I think a big part of why I've always I feel like my career of bouncing off of Mac Miller projects has a lot to do with like maybe my outlook on life compared to other people of like my age group or my demographic, where it's like a lot of his music post 2013 or 2012 is like very much like self-discovery and like coming of age and like figuring your shit out, right?
Mm-hmm.
And personally, like I've never really resonated with that. I kind of knew what I wanted to do from a pretty young age and I stuck with it. So like the whole like self-discovery element of it I just never got into, and I think that's a big reason why he was just never very influential for me from the start. And because of that, I think it makes it really hard to kind of integrate him into my listening in a way that feels whole. It's like I take bits and pieces of what I like from him. I'll listen to them. But like he's never someone where I'll sit down and be like, yeah, I like his whole discography, or I want to listen to his whole discography. Like there are projects of his that I very deliberately I'm like, I'm never gonna listen to that again. Like I don't ever want to open up Macadelic again. I hated that. But like
wild.
But there's just things that like, yeah, there are things that are good and things that are redeeming. I just don't think this project is one of them for me, unfortunately. It's just like it's oil on water in terms of like my outlook on life and like where I am as an adult, a person, yada yada, all that stuff. It's like if it were 10 years ago, maybe, but like it just isn't connecting with me in the moment.
Yeah. And I think like the fact that this is from 10 years ago is like,
yeah,
I think that is like important to know, like just like thinking about how it plays into Mac's life, how it plays into our own, how it rates into all of our, because like we're inherently like not like simultaneously, like especially people like us who are kind of connected, and especially people like the three, like me, Jeff, and Purvis, who are connected to Mac like so intensely. It's like, we're simultaneously faced with our feelings about him as he stands now post-mortem and how he stood at the time. And like that was like an era for like Mac Miller where like he had broken away from like his somewhat problematic early kind of sound that he himself had said like, he wasn't a huge fan of. And this was like the transitionary phase into the artist that, has become one of the most beloved artists of a generation, whether you like it or not,
No,
and like I think pretty undebatably, like taking that mantle of the most beloved white figure in hip hop from Eminem, I think pretty handedly.
100%. The influence is undeniable. It's just a question of
but like no, I see what you mean, and like no, I get it. Like you're just faced to like keep this specific part of his career in like face, in like mind. But like, no, I do get like how, especially for someone who's like not super into Mac Miller, how this would be kind of like a point to bounce off of, right? Like Rachel only knows like a handful of Mac Miller songs I play her, and like that he has a very good tiny desk. So she was like, yeah, this was cool, but it was very sad and like very, because she listened to it with me, and it was like, everything was like, yeah, it was cool, but it was very sad, and like I don't really get it, I don't think. So not that I'm implying that you didn't get it. Like I think like this isn't a particularly hard album to get, but I do think it is a hard album to appreciate, if that makes sense.
I agree. I also think that like getting it or not, there isn't that much to get, in the sense that like it feels like it is so much more focused on, and maybe this is again just me coming back to the whole like pseudo philosophical thing, but when you think that a lot of the lines just don't amount to much in terms of like a conclusion or the end of a verse, and it's like it feels like the message that is trying to be impressed upon you is pretty lost or muddled. It just doesn't feel like it's really like it has a lot to say in some ways.
I think the thing is, I think you need not to sound like, in my opinion, I feel like the message isn't in the lyrics, which I think I agree. Like that's where I usually am in hip hop because like I'm such a lyrics focused listener. But like I think the message of the album cannot be pinned down in the lyrics. I think the message of the album is like to appreciate music for its own sake.
Yeah.
And I think the lyrics are only a part of it. Now, once again, I'm not going to blame anyone for coming at this project and saying like, oh, I don't get it because I don't think he's actually saying something, because one, that's what hip hop is kind of for. And two, it's a thing Mac Miller does do very well throughout his career. So I get like why, like, yeah, I don't think the lyrics in the way that like a good hip hop project, you know, you can separate the lyrics and dissect them to a degree. I don't think they have much meaning, but I think the meaning of the music, I do think like, and you keep using the word focus. And I think like the whole thing is that it is unfocused. Yeah, I think it is like inherently unfocused. And I think that means that it's about like expression, like, the thing I just previously said, I think it's about expression for the sake of doing it. Right. And, you know, and I could see that tying into like the kind of ethical debate of like, is this thing going to be released or not? Because like who gets tied up in that? Like, is this thing existing? Is it meant for people to hear it? But who knows? Yeah. So for me, I do think like there is a message, but I agree that like, if you're going into this, like, any other hip hop album and even any other Mac Miller album, I think you're going to be disappointed. Yeah. And, and on one hand, like, I do think it takes just like a specific kind of listener to be able to like get past that. And to be honest, I don't even know if it's Mac Miller's audience. And like, to circle back to something Jeff said earlier, like, I do agree. I don't think this is his best project, but I think that's a weird standard to come to it too, which is why I would also be annoyed hearing it, because it just doesn't seem like it doesn't seem like you're interfacing with the work in a honest or critical way when you say things like that. Do you know what I mean?
You're walking into it trying to compare right away.
Yeah, you're walking into it trying to compare it, Right.
Which, luckily enough, I feel like, at least online, a lot of the Mac Miller fans I've seen haven't tried to like compare it to his best work.
Yeah, I have not seen a lot of discourse about this album. I haven't even watched a Fantano review.
I have not either.
I haven't watched a Fantano review. I haven't really thought. I've thought about the album because I've listened to it, but that's really as far as I've gotten. Right? Like,
I feel like the community is pretty strong for Mac Miller. Like, people are always going to come out and represent him because how much he meant to people.
Yeah.
And I feel like when you drop an experimental album, like, or anything in art that's experimental, if you're not fully in that circle, you're just not going to really get it as much.
Yeah.
And like, that's not meant to be like a shot or anything. That's just reality. When Jasper was speaking about it, because you're right, the way that you live your life, you're a very stable person. You're very well off. Like, if you come into a very experimental that's leaning towards more depression or something like that, it's not going to click, I would say.
Yeah.
And like, I was thinking, like, if I go to an art gallery show and I don't know much about art, you could tell me so much more that like I would just miss naturally.
I think that's fair. I don't know. I mean, the whole like negative or difficult outlook on life from a perspective of like being sad. Like, we all know what it's like to be sad. So I don't know if that was much of a factor for me. But Brandon, one thing you mentioned that made me think about it also is like, I think this is really at odds with like my own kind of creative process around a lot of things. I think that's a big part of it. Where like, I've never been a proponent of like art for the sake of art, like art for the sake of you enjoying making it, sure, or like art for the sake of you wanting to communicate something, also yes. Like, I think the the thing about, like, I don't want to go too far into it, but like my favorite TED Talk is by Tom Sachs, and it's called How to Succeed in Spite of Your Own Creativity, which is about channeling creativity into a productive or a focused way so that it doesn't just overcome you and you are directionless. And like this project is that. So it's like, I think that's just another disconnect where it's like my own outlook on that is just so different. It just doesn't jive. But that's
I just have just a completely opposite kind of like outlook, and I'll just, my thing has always been like, to me, when you say like, oh, I don't necessarily agree with art for the sake of art, but I agree for art for the sake of you enjoy doing it. I think that in and of itself is a distinction without a difference. I think those are the exact same thing, right? Like I sit down and I write things all the time because that's what I enjoy doing. That I have no intention to show anyone. I don't want to see anything. That aren't exactly journal entries either, because they're not doing that exact thing, which is also a thing that is good and based. And like I am just a believer that like these things that like have just become so commoditied, and these things that people use to like fuel their careers, like they're just things that human beings are like meant to enjoy doing, right? And it is good and normal and natural to do them without any other express goal than for you like doing it and it's good for you to do it. Like I saw someone, my favorite authors does a yearly like seminar at a college where it's like he does like a fiction class at a college, and he uploads it for free. Right. Mm-hmm. And he was kind of talking about like the philosophy of like being a writer. And it's like, you don't have to do it to get paid. Like, it's just good to do. It's like it's like going to the park and playing basketball. You don't consider it a waste of time because you're not going to the NBA, because it's good for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think like that's it. Like, I think because of who Mac Miller was, like making music was clearly his solace. Clearly just like making Balloonerism was good for him and like the thing he should do. So I think that justifies his existence just on its face. Does it need to be packaged and sold on Spotify? Well, I don't, and like, I'm not begging the answer no either. I think the answer could be yes, because that's how you share it. Yeah. And like, maybe for him, a huge part of that process was sharing the music with other people.
And that's one of those things where it's like, that's an area where you and I just have, I think, a different definition, because my background in art is very much like fine visual art, because that's like what my parents were in for a long time. But it's like, when I hear art for the sake of art, a lot of times that translates into art for the sake of consumption, where it's like you are putting out art because it's not because you want to necessarily share a message or like something that you strongly believe in, but because you are putting something into a space where consumption might be the norm, right? Mm-hmm. And so like art for the sake of art in fine visual art might be a gallery that peddles that kind of art, picks it up, and it's run of the mill and it gets commodified in that exact way. And that's kind of where I was approaching it, where it's like, inevitably, I feel sometimes art for the sake of art for people who are more public figures or like more well-known in that space results in commodification, where it's like, just because you enjoy sitting down and writing it doesn't mean that eventually it isn't going to end up becoming a money printing machine at some point. And that's just my perspective. And I don't think this album ever was
very confused.
Oh, well, I'm saying
like I just don't see like why like just having to do it means it has to become like a thing that is bought and sold. Like, even if it's a thing that's shared.
I'm not saying that it has to be. I'm saying in my experience, like growing up, just seeing like my parents' friends who had galleries who represented them, it's like, even if they're doing art for the sake of art, someone is looking for a way to commodify that, and that results in like a devaluing of like what the messaging might be, because suddenly it's not about, oh, I just did it because I wanted to have fun. It's like, oh, well, you're getting pressure from a gallery to like produce something. So it's like,
right. I'm familiar with how the evils of capitalism corrupt art, but like,
and that's all I'm saying is like, when I hear that, I just think of like it being corrupted by it, and not just like art for the sake of art being art because you want to. I see those as two different things.
I think you should. I say this as your friend. I think you should investigate that. I think it's interesting that you hear art and you immediately think just a thing meant to be consumed, and not just a thing that people do.
I should ask that, at least on this project.
Not just art generally, but yes. Anyway.
On this project, do you feel like it was commodified?
I don't know. I feel like the release was not like the biggest, most commercial thing ever. No, I mean, it's not like it's tied to.
In a sense, it can be bought and sold now. So yes, like in zeros.
Yeah, it wasn't like a trick question. I was just
like in zeros
and I believe the profits from the albums sold go to the charity.
Yeah,
and charity. Okay.
And nothing about how commercial or not commercial the release was has colored anything I said so far about it. Those are all what I feel just from listening to it. I got through it twice.
So I think for me, I think like when I say commercialization, what I mean is I think like the process of taking something like files on Mac Miller's computer and making it into a product that is like bought and sold. Like that's what I mean. Like I don't know if anyone else is kind of working on a different definition, but I just wanted to clarify.
Yeah, no, my whole thing was art for the sake of art. I think I have a negative association with that generally, just because of my personal experience, and it's like because of that, it's just I don't know. Art for the sake of art and art because you want to make something are two different things to me. That's all. That's all I was trying to say. So like I didn't arrive at the same point as you did based on that like phrase.
Yeah.
That's fair. Do you have in this, not like diving into it too much, do you have like any experimental music that you really connect with?
Oh yeah. No, there's a fair amount. I really like a lot of like I mean there's like some early like Moby stuff that I think would qualify, like more experimental like techno type stuff. I like early Kraftwerk, which is very experimental. At least at the time it was, maybe not so much anymore.
Brian Eno.
Sorry?
Do you like Brian Eno?
I do, yeah. Some early Brian Eno stuff is pretty great.
Music for Airports is great.
Yeah, and then who else? Like, I mean, a lot of MGMT before it was like really like the formulated stuff that they made.
Yeah.
Was I think in that lane. Some early Alt J very much fits that mold too, I'd say. So yeah, I do. I tend to visit it more so in other genres, and it's just like stuff I kind of grew up with.
Yeah.
Or like even like some Beck, you know, like I feel like some Beck fits the experimental mold a little bit, but I don't listen to him as much anymore as I did when I was younger because my dad was the Beck fan in the house. But yeah, no, experimental hip hop is something that I am not nearly as versed in as I am in like I'd say other genres generally. But that said, like I think experimental hip hop takes a lot of forms, and I don't think this is like a very common form necessarily. Like I don't think you're gonna find a lot of stuff that sounds like Balloonerism.
I was gonna say this
is
very
jazzy, you know, maybe in like the jazz rap kind of sense.
Yeah,
that's fair. Right. Yeah. I don't have like any experimental background. Every time I've tried to pick up experimental, mainly because my main genres is hip hop and R&B, it just like completely falls off.
Yeah,
I think a lot of the more experimental stuff in hip hop that I'm familiar with is like instrumental, not so much just like anything word related. I think of like a lot of pretty out there Pete Rock as like being like kind of like my reference point for stuff like that.
Yeah,
I mean, like Death Grips is a big one.
Death Grips is like probably like the most stereotypically like experimental, and I just
I'm familiar with Death Grips. Listen to them. And that's like a genre intersection too, because that's like it's like hardcore metal, whatever you want to call it. It's got elements of all kinds of things.
No, totally, it totally does. So does JPEG Mafia. He's kind of on the. I would not say I don't think Danny Brown's solo stuff is so experimental. I think that's firmly an alternative hip hop, but I think JPEG Mafia certainly gets towards experimental.
What about Scaring the Hose?
I think that's JPEG Mafia.
I'm saying, but
I think Scaring the Hose kind of gets there. I think it is like kind of like experimental for babies. I think it is like meant to be like a genuinely experimental album that is easy to get into as they can be.
You could still go out in public and talk about this.
Yeah.
Like,
stop scaring the dude. Volume 2, dude. This year, please. I re-listened to that album like a week ago. I fucking love that album.
Should we give it a grade?
Dude, Scaring the Hose, A+.
Thank you.
Golden Nugget award winners.
I'm sure that was your Golden Nugget, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, it was Danny Brown that year because of Scaring the Hose and Claranta.
For us, it was Utopia, and for Brandon, it was Scared the Hose. Yeah.
My.
That's the podcast.
We've come a long way.
Well, the more things change, the more they stay the same. I'm feeling like a solid. I'm feeling like a solid B+ on this. Like, I really do like it. I think there's a huge conversation to be had about, like, you know, is this the kind of album I'm gonna be revisiting to and listening a whole lot? No, but to me, that does not make it inferior. Right? I think that's my main point. It's just because something is not something I'll listen to often is not a quality thing necessarily. Right. Like, and frankly, not usually. Right. It is just usually like a more of a tone thing. But yeah, no, I think this is a solid B+. I like this a lot. Yes, there are things I normally get out of a Mac Miller project that I didn't get out of this, but that's fine. Right. And I'm more than happy, like, to listen to the noodling.
Give it a B. Just for all those same reasons. I mean, but on top of all the reasons I gave that were negative also, like, yeah, it's good, but did we really need it?
That's a good question. And that circles back to art for the sake of art, right?
Yeah.
If it's just for the sake of itself existing,
that's like
somebody do it.
That's why, like, I just hate the question, like, do we need it? And it's like, what a stupid ass fucking question. Like,
do we need anything?
Like, do we need? Like, when was the last time you needed an album? No, you need calories and shelter. Like,
look, I need a Chance to Rap around.
I know you do. I know you do. Inshallah, I know you do. Like,
I mean, he just released an exclusive to SoundCloud.
What?
Chance.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I need something. I need something else.
He's back to SoundCloud. Is he bringing SoundCloud back? Watch him release this damn album only on fucking SoundCloud.
Look, if it's a mixtape, then it's gonna be good. If it's an album, it may not be.
Honestly, I'm gonna go with your logic. Anyway, guys,
it's a good take.
Purvis, give your grade.
B-. I think this will follow along with all the other albums I listen to once a year. Yeah, and that's literally where it's at. I really enjoy probably about 5 or 6 songs. The rest of the album, I could be completely out of my mind and not even realize that it's playing.
Yeah. And then Jasper, and you can finish up your point. I know you have a point hanging.
I give it a C. I think that it's something where, again, I think my worldview and like the outlook and the messaging behind a lot of Mac Miller's career are just kind of at odds, and I've kind of accepted that at this point. When I go in to any project, it's just very much a grain of salt for me. I think art for the sake of art is important for the subjective experience of the person making it and the catharsis that comes with it. I think that just because you make art doesn't necessarily mean it needs to be shared, and that's why I liked Jeff's point about this didn't necessarily need to come out, because it could have stayed exactly what it was. And I think because it's so personal and so subjective, I think in that way, you know, I think it'll be pretty impossible for anybody to very honestly say that they are like really getting a lot out of this project that they couldn't get out of other things that Mac Miller has put out with the intent to distribute in a way that is like for an audience. But because if this wasn't ready to come out and it came out, that might be part of that, you know?
But do you think that means that the people who do get something out of it shouldn't get it?
No, I'm just saying it's probably harder for people to connect with this than it would be for another project, because it's not. I don't think this project was necessarily set up by him to be like, a lot of the content on it was not necessarily set up by him to be listened to by other people. Like, I'm not making no song on here has the structure of like, I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna make something that people play in their car. Like, obviously that's not a factor here. So it's like the listening experience, I don't think was a factor when these songs were originally recorded, and I think that's a big part of why like the album just doesn't necessarily resonate.
I don't know. I just feel like that's a pretty big assumption.
Yeah, it is.
And like,
that's just my perspective, like having heard it. Like,
yeah. All right. So we all round out. We arrived at around a B minus.
Yeah.
All right.
I'd probably give it a C plus. Some of the instrumentation is pretty great. I just
Yeah.
The whole Bob Dylan of hip hop hitting 50% of the time doesn't necessarily land for me. That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Now, shall we move on to recommendations?
Let's do it.
I have 2 different bits I could do.
Oh boy.
No, I know what bit I'm going to do. Anyway, who wants to go first? Should it be me?
I'll go first.
Okay.
So my first one's gonna be from 2 of our favorite people, Action Bronson and The Alchemist. Just the way it is.
Those are my uncles.
Approved. Stamp of approval.
Tios.
Hell no.
Got him.
I never hear you speak Spanish. That was funny.
I speak Spanish. Shut the fuck up. You just.
Do you understand Spanish?
I understand it. I don't really speak it. Like.
That's what I'm saying.
Right, like I was yelled at in Spanish, so I had to understand it. But my grandmother spoke English, so I responded in that. Like
the language of la chancla is universal.
Absolutely.
How'd you pull that out your bag? Where'd that even come from?
Me? You know I speak Spanish, right?
Actually, no, I did know that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I'll give you that. I did know that.
Yeah.
All right. Brandon, do your bit.
Okay, no. My bit is just gonna be 3 women, very different vibe. So my first one, setting up that paying off the foreshadowing from earlier, is Lotto Sunday Service featuring Flo Milli and Megan Thee Stallion. And it's just because I'm not all that interested in Lotto. She's not really on the song. It's a remix of one of her songs. I think of all the female rappers right now, she's probably the one I'm the least interested in. Not that I dislike her, but Flo Milli and Megan, it's insane. Like the savagery in the first half of the Flo Milli verse goes nuts, and the video has an obscene amount of ass in it. So, what's there not to love? So yeah, Sunday Service remix, Lotto, Flo Milli, and Megan Thee Stallion.
Hell yeah. Jasper, I'll go. Earl Sweatshirt Riot. It's literally an instrumental. It slaps though. It's so good. So that's my first one.
I'll go. Mine is Meat Grinder, MF Doom.
Oh, fun.
Not bad.
Good one. My second one is gonna be. I came across them on TikTok. Coast Contra 505.
Wow. I'll have to listen to that.
I don't know how I started listening. It's a group of 4 guys and they just freestyle and go off.
Okay. I found some good music off of TikTok, so I approve.
Yeah, I can't get mad. I found a lot of good music off of TikTok.
A lot of good music.
R.I.P.
Yeah, BJ the Chicago Kid. Sorry, I'm getting distracted. It's featured on one of their songs.
Incredible. All right. I think I'm next. My next one, I was doing some sample diving, and I found one. And I don't want to just recommend this song. I want to recommend this whole album, because this album has been giving me the 90s vibes I've been needing all week. I'm recommending Use Your Heart by SWV. It's the sample basis for Heart Part 6 of GNX. It's incredible. It's an incredible 90s R&B cut. The entire album's fantastic. These 3 girls can sing their heart out. It's so fucking good. I don't want to say underrated because I wasn't there in the 90s listening to black people music. I don't know what they rated very highly or not. So this could be a very popular band that I'm just getting accustomed to now. But I like the album a lot. So, and the song, Use Your Heart.
They have 3.5 monthly listeners.
3.5 million?
3.5 million 30 years later. So, yeah, I think they might be popular.
Yeah, right.
I don't know, though. I talked about it 2 weeks ago. Big X the Plug. Slaps.
So
that
good.
ad lib, I'm serious. I've been screaming A so loud, nonstop.
Hey.
It's as bad as the West Side Gun one. Like,
dude, Big X Plug is sick.
hey,
I've only been telling you guys.
You have been telling us. I've been listening to him about 6 months now, so I'm good. But like,
I've been on the
Ever
train.
since I started joining you guys regularly, I'm telling you.
God,
It's so good.
Bitch, he's from Texas.
You jump from Texas.
Oof. All right, Jasper. Send us
My
on.
next one is fitting for what day it is. I'm doing High Off Life by WZRD.
That's fun.
Love that song.
That's a good one.
Song on the project?
Love it.
What'd you say, Purvis?
The only High Off Life I know is Future. I'm sorry.
Casual.
The Future song is really good.
Brandon knows.
The Future song is really good. Oh my God. Wizard better album than the album the Future song is on.
Yes, it is.
I'll give it that.
Even though, you know what pisses me off?
And the other thing is High Off Life might be the best Future song. I do not think High Off Life is the best song on the Wizard project, but I do like it a lot. It's a
super quick rant. I hate that my favorite album cover for all of Future's discography is High Off Life, and that is one of the most mid projects of his.
That's one of his good ones. Can't choose
It's
one.
A good one.
That's my favorite. That's one of my
High
favorite.
Off Life, the whole project.
The actual, the album cover. You're right. It is an amazing.
I love that album cover. The whole album is not as good as like DS2, obviously.
I mean, what is?
Come on.
Nothing.
GNX isn't as good as DS2. I thought it was assumed. Every time I said like, oh, there was a good album, it was under To Pimp a Butterfly under DS2. Like Run the Jewels 2 under DS2.
What point are you trying to make here?
Dude, what if we got Run the Dirty Sprite?
Oh my God. Smash the like button.
Smash the like button. Like, subscribe.
Tell us we're wrong.
Tell us how awful we are and how bad of our takes are. Talk shit about Purvis's sword. Compliment Purvis's sword. Whatever makes the most sense to you.
Tell us how Balloonerism is the best Mac Miller album and say it with a straight face.
Yeah.
Oh, please don't.
Yeah, don't. Yeah.
Jeff's over there like, not again.
This watching movies with the sound off erasure. Okay, all right, we're signing off. Goodbye.